25 PIHRA membership orientation. I'm so happy to have you here with us. We're going to spend the next 60 minutes, more or less, together. And a couple housekeeping things before we get to the agenda. I am recording this, so what typically happens is I put it up on our YouTube channel and I give you a link to our YouTube channel, and you'll see every month we have a recording there. And it's interesting because every month we have different attendees and they have different questions. So also you'll be getting these slides after the webinar today, sometime this afternoon. And I'll also include an email with links to things that you might find of interest or things that come up during this webinar. This webinar is for you, so feel free to start chatting in the chat box. I put some things in the chat box. In a second, I'm going to put my URL in the chat box so that you can keep in contact with me, and also let us know where you are cybering in from. I am in Southeast Los Angeles, close to like right 4 miles southeast of downtown LA. So I'd love to hear where you're coming from. Um, so I'm sending you the slides. So you don't necessarily have to take notes on the slides, but if you want to take notes on other things that we're talking about, feel free. And I think that's it. Hopefully you have a glass of water with you, and we'll get this going. So this is what we're covering today on the agenda. So I'm in the welcome, and we'll get into a general update on what's going on with PIHRA. The next thing I want to do is a poll. So I'm going to launch the poll, and we just started doing this on Teams a couple months ago, so you'd think I'd be used to it, but I'm not. So when I launch the poll, you will be able to find the poll in your chat. So if you can't, we'll get to that in a moment. But I want you to walk away from the next 60 minutes with the information you need to, one, get the most out of your PIHRA membership, and two, help you get to where you want to be with respect to your HR career or your career in general. So if it's that you want to focus on HR certification or you want to build your leadership skills with volunteering, so tell me what you want, and I'm going to focus on that during this call. Also, I'll introduce myself a little bit more. You see in the title, you should see my name, but I'll introduce myself a little bit more at that point and introduce you to my liaison with the PIHRA board. We'll talk a little bit about the structure. Then I'll introduce you to our special guest, Rena, who's here. Hi, Rena. And she'll talk a little bit about herself and her connection with PIHRA. Then we'll go through an overview of PIHRA. Let me admit this person. And just tell you a little bit about the organization in general. Make sure we got everybody in. Okay, fantastic. And let's see what else is on the agenda here. Member benefits. I'll focus on member benefits and just chat about some of the highest value member benefits, but if you have any questions about specific benefits or something you heard about, feel free to put that in the chat. I want to hear from you. We don't have a lot of people on the call today, so please, if you have a question, put it in the chat, but I may have you just unmute and ask the question live as well. Then we're going to talk about learning and networking at PIHRA. At the end of the webinar, I have a list of things going on in June so that you can start thinking about what is that next step you're going to take to get more involved with PIHRA or focus on your professional development or, whatever you want to do and what your goals are. And then we'll just wrap up, make sure that all your questions are answered. So let's get going. I don't see, and if I'm not noticing something in the chat, Rena, please feel free to, Redondo, I love Redondo. I see people that might not be looking at the chat, so please connect with each other. Rena's in Ontario, Genesis Ventura, I love Ventura. So welcome, everybody, and let's get this going. All right, so general update. So I've gotten into the habit of talking about before the pandemic and now after the pandemic. Before the pandemic, we had some webinars, but not nearly as many as we do now. The one thing that the pandemic enabled us to do is do a lot of virtual things. So we have at least 3 webinars per month nowadays, and we do most of our conferences and larger seminars hybrid. So there's always that virtual option because I know our time is just more constrained nowadays. I know I have a harder time getting out of the office. So, and these webinars also include recertification credits, and they're pretty meaty in terms of HR technical knowledge. So like I said, at the end of this deck, I have a couple examples of some of the webinars that we're doing. You just check to make sure everyone's getting in. All right, thank you. Welcome to the people who just joined. Welcome. So what else? The other thing that happened after the pandemic is that we started noticing and paying more attention to what our members need, and not just our members, but our HR stakeholders in general in Southern California. So we want to meet people where they are. So a lot of chapters are meeting in person now, but what they're doing is they're rotating the time and the format. So I'm going to take PIHRA North OC as an example. I don't know if many of you, I think I saw Kayla's on. She's close to North OC, but if you were to go to a North OC meeting, they usually meet in the Anaheim area. They'll have 1 month a very traditional meeting, which is a morning breakfast meeting with a speaker, and more of a traditional lecture style. The next month, they'll do a lunchtime meeting, and that's more like an idea lab or some sort of lab or workshop sort of format. And then the third month, they'll do a social. So it's an evening social. And that way they're able to attract people who, have flexibility at different times of the day. I know I have a young daughter, now she's a teen. I still got to get her to school in the morning, so it's really hard for me to get to meetings early in the morning, but it's easier for me to get to lunchtime meetings and also to socials in the early evening. So please check out the calendar. That is going to be your go-to if you're interested, like what's going on with PIHRA, or hey, I want to know what PIHRA Ventura County is up to. Go to the calendar. We also have, each of our chapters have microsites, but we don't have a full-time webmaster, so those aren't updated as much as I would like. So you're going to want to go to the PIHRA calendar to see, to register for meetings, find the location to meetings, find the topics at the different meetings as well. Any questions so far or comments? No, everyone got it? Okay. So let's use the poll function now. So in a moment, I'm going to launch a poll, and I want to find out from you, what information are you interested in receiving during today's member orientation? So I am sharing it. Let's see. Now I think I have to launch it. All right, you should see it in the chat. Let me know if you see it at the top of the chat. Please, anybody unmute, and I'm gonna just respond here to see if it's working. Okay, I responded. Does anyone else see it?
Yes, it's
Oh,
in the chat.
wonderful.
I see
Thank
it,
you.
but I tried to submit it.
Yeah, we're good.
and It didn't let me.
Ooh, who's that? If it's not letting you, here the.
Oh, there it went through. It went through.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
Thank you. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
For whatever reason, mine won't go through.
Okay, if it's not going through, just tell me in the chat. What is it that you're interested in finding out more of? Are you interested in finding out more about the PIHRA chapters, about chapter meetings, seminars and conferences, HR certification, Volunteering. Let's see, I think there's someone trying to come in. Nope. Yeah, so I'm just going to give it another 15 seconds. I think I see 4 responses. All right, certification, volunteering.
I meant to put volunteering as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Seminars, conferences, chapter meetings, chapters in general, and HR certification. So it's kind of like across the board. No other. And PIHRA connection. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. And hopefully I could just go back to my slides here. All right. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. Hopefully you're not seeing anything but the slide that says, let's uncover your priorities. And I'm going to move on. What I'm going to do is focus in on those things that you said you wanted to hear more about. I saw a lot of chapter information, seminars, a little bit about HR certification and some volunteering. So I have written myself a note and I'll just focus on those things as we go forward. Please feel free, it's a small group, unmute yourself, ask a question or ask a question in the chat and I'll be looking out for those. I'll try to pause as I go. So here's a little bit of information about me. I'm trying to get, here we go. Thank you. Sorry for this pause. I'm trying to see you and see my slides at the same time. So I'm right here. My name is Liliana Arguello. Everyone calls me Lily. I'm the Director of Membership, and I am here to serve you. So I'm really good at communicating via email, but feel free to call me or leave me a voicemail or send me a note saying, hey, can you call me? Because not everybody likes to communicate via email. But I've been here for, gosh, it's 11 years this year in May. And I feel like PIHRA is a great marriage between my work, my career as an organizational development consultant. And later on, I switched gears and went into the association world and ended up at the Girl Scouts of Greater Los Angeles doing uh, membership. It was more like partnership building. I was focused on expanding the largest leadership development program for women in the world to the inner city quartiles of Los Angeles. So those are mostly lower income areas and Spanish speaking areas. At the time, Girl Scouts had developed some Spanish language materials, and so we were expanding it, and it was a great time. I got this job through LinkedIn. So, and through my volunteer leadership. I will tell you that story because I think it's important. I just want to make sure everyone's in. All right, everyone's in. Welcome to whoever joined. I was a PIHRA member. Wait, no, that's not the story I was telling you, but I was a PIHRA member before I ever dreamed of being on staff because after consulting for like 10, 12 years, I wanted to go internal. And at that time, I knew about SHRM and I knew about PIHRA, so I started getting involved. My first chapter was PIHRA Long Beach. So I don't know if anyone's here. I guess, Hayden, you're the closest to Long Beach right now. So whoop, whoop for Long
Yes, ma'am.
Beach. And
Ma'am.
when I was getting my MBA, I actually met a group of women, and post-graduating, we decided to start the first professional chapter of the National Association of Women MBAs. And through that
That's
work,
insane.
through that
That's
leadership
cool.
work, I met someone who knew my boss, who I'll introduce you to in a moment, Rafael Rivera, and that's how he recruited me. So that is all a pitch for volunteer leadership, which we're going to talk about in a moment, and having a fantastic LinkedIn profile. So feel free to ask anybody you meet through PIHRA about their LinkedIn and how that works. So the other person on this slide that I want to introduce you to is Sonia Montiel. She is a volunteer with PIHRA. We are primarily volunteer led. We do have a staff of 8. We've been kind of getting smaller and smaller, but we have a core of volunteers, over 200 volunteers. And Sonia is actually out of Ventura County. So Genesis, I think you're out of Ventura County. She is my liaison with the larger board. So the entire association has a board, and then each of our chapters, and I'll show you a map of our chapters in a moment, has its own board. So all the chapters kind of go up into the association board, and she's on the association board. So she represents all of you. She's an advocate for our members. She is from the educational sector, and she's one of the kindest, most thoughtful people. She's also very willing to speak to you, and here's her contact information. You will get these slides, so always know you can reach out to me. I'd rather you, if you're getting frustrated about something, or something didn't sit right, or something's happening that's fantastic, you got connected with somebody through PIHRA, let me know. Just email me because I want to hear about it. And now, Rena, you've been so patient. I want to introduce you to Rena. So Rena, you want to unmute and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Rena. I am the membership chair with PIHRA Emerging Leaders. We relaunched earlier this year, and excited to talk a little bit more about that later on. I am currently a career coach, but I do have a background in HR, mainly in the startup space, and have pretty much done all of the things within HR. I transitioned into a different career earlier this year, and primarily coach individuals that are emerging leaders, as well as in transition. And I do have a lot of clients that are in the HR space, so support them with their career journeys as well.
Thank you so much. And I want to encourage you all to please connect on LinkedIn. And I'm going to put my LinkedIn back in the chat. So this is where we start networking. The reason I joined PIHRA and I love PIHRA now is because of the community that we have. We differentiate ourselves because of our community. Even from SHRM, we have the largest local community of HR practitioners than anywhere else, any other association in the United States. And so I have met some lifelong friends here. Rena is doing some great work with emerging leaders, who has their own board as well. So if anyone's interested in volunteering, Rena can help you with that. But let's keep going, because we have a lot to cover, and we will be talking about all this along the way. So this is our mission statement. I'm not going to read it to you, but this is our 80th anniversary. We were established in 1944 by a group of personnel managers. They met in downtown Los Angeles. So if there's anyone that's been around for a while, you may remember we were districts. So each of our chapters were called districts, and Los Angeles, PIHRA LA, was District 1. And that's why, because the first group of personnel managers got together and they talked about what is the future of this profession. And back then they were called, it was industrial relations or personnel managers. And so we've evolved a long way from there. But and we've evolved from, we were called the Professional Association of Industrial Relations, and now we're professionals, what are we? Professionals in Human Resources Association, PIHRA. So we've come a long way. I'm going to talk about some things that we're doing for our 80th anniversary. But when I get to this slide, this is where I'd like to talk about our connection with SHRM. We are the largest SHRM affiliate in the United States. I know that because I get the reports. I think we're the largest affiliate in the world, because they do have affiliates in India and China. I don't think they've surpassed our size yet. So we're an affiliate, but we're definitely a separate entity. So we have our separate membership and separate
This is
organization.
a stupid question.
Yeah.
What's SHRM?
SHRM is the Society of Human Resource Management. So they're a global HR association. Hayden, let's go talk about that offline, because I want to connect you with them. It might be something you're interested in.
Cool beans. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you have any questions about SHRM, let me know along the way, but we are affiliated. We're just a separate entity. So here's some key players that you should know. Susan Bowman, she's the president of that board I was telling you about, the association-wide board. She's been a member of PIHRA for at least 15, 20 years. She was out of the Antelope Valley. So we have a chapter in Palmdale, Lancaster area. And she's fantastic. She has over 30 years of experience. She has all the different certifications. So if you're interested in certification, I'd suggest talking to as many certified people as possible. I got my SHRM SDP at the beginning of 2021 during the pandemic, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. But it's worth it. There's a lot of information out there about how that can increase your earning potential and just make you feel great about your ability to do HR. And I'll talk a little bit about the SCP versus the other designations as well. Also on this slide is Rafael Rivera. He's my supervisor. He recruited me over. He's our chief executive officer, also very accessible, especially on LinkedIn or at our conferences. He's always willing to hear and speak to our members. And I just really credit him for getting us through the pandemic and really rebranding us to the organization we are, rebranding our conferences. For example, we've done the annual conference, I think, gosh, it's going on 66 years. Well, it used to be called the PIHRA Annual Conference, and now it's the California HR Conference. So he's a fantastic person, and I love my job, and that's because of him as well. So if you want to send him a LinkedIn note saying hi and telling him that you met Lily and that you really enjoyed this webinar, I'd love that. Here's a little bit about our demographics with respect to our members. So I do want to update this soon, but the numbers are pretty similar. We have right around 3,400 members. We've gotten smaller after the pandemic. So, the first thing to go when the economy's kind of going downwards is memberships and subscriptions. And so we have been impacted. But these numbers on the left in terms of who our members are, they've been staying pretty consistent. So, the majority of our members are at that HR manager, the generalist, the HR business partner level. We have 20% of our members are at the HR director level. We have a significant amount of HR consultants, and 8% of our membership is the HR vice president and above type of person. We also have service providers, and so don't be scared of service providers. Those are those people that are natural partners to HR. They could be wellness coaches, staffing firms, event organizers. Shout out to Hayden here, who's on, and
Shout out.
insurance brokers. So there's a lot to learn from these folks. They can help you do a lot of things. Most of them here understand that it's about building relationships and not a hard sell. So I really like working with them. They're the first people to know about a new HR position because it's their job to know about these things and to know about the pain points in HR. So because they work very closely with human resources, I know one of our partners just was on LinkedIn saying, hey, if anyone's interested in the HR director job in this area, reach out to me. So also, the top industries represented by our members are manufacturing, consulting, and nonprofit. Those are the top three. You see more here, but we have members in all types of different industries. And also important here is that 40% of our members are HR certified. So they're certified either through HRCI or SHRM. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. And I will also send you links if you're interested in HR certification. I know it can be kind of a mystifying process. So I'll send you some links so you could start doing that research. But HR certification is important to us and it's important to our members. All right, let's talk a little bit about our footprint and our chapters. So this is a chapter map. We have 18 chapters and 4 special interest groups. And Rena, feel free to chime in and let us know about your experiences with the chapters. But what I'd like to cover here is we go as far north as Antelope Valley, Santa Clarita, Ventura County. We go as far east as the desert in Coachella Valley. That group meets out of Desert Hot Springs, I believe. We go as far south as North County, San Diego. That community is not one that meets frequently, but we do have a community there. Right north of that is our largest community, South OC. Just yesterday, they had an HR think tank that I couldn't attend, but it was fantastic. Pre-pandemic, they had 730 members. Right now, they're right around 450 members. So that is our largest chapter. They meet out of Irvine, Costa Mesa usually. Our second largest chapter is PIHRA Los Angeles. They've been meeting kind of every other month, mostly socials or evening events. And but they do have morning events, and they usually meet out of the City Club, which is a beautiful venue. And our third largest chapter is North OC. Um, what what you should know is that there is an additional cost to go to these meetings, and that's because they have to pay for the venue. There's usually a meal, and there is a programmatic component. And each of them have all kinds of different programs. So as a member, you get the member rate, which is usually $10 to $15 less than the non-member rate. And you can go to any of the chapter meetings at the member rate. So, Rena, do you want to chime in about, your experiences at the chapter meetings, or talk a little bit about emerging leaders?
Yeah, so my first introduction to PIHRA was through LA, and I have kind of sort of stayed in that region. I'm more closer to the Orange County ones, but I found my community with the LA individuals, and that has been fantastic. It's been a great networking opportunity to meet with like-minded individuals that are within the same industry but also have the same struggles, and we can help each other. The first event that I went to, I was surprised because rarely do you step into a space where it's like you're all in HR and you understand what each individual is going through. So it has been a great experience for me. With our emerging leaders, we aren't based in a specific location. Our events have been more so LA. However, we are planning for a leadership summit that will potentially be in Orange County. So we're excited to do that. There is most of it is under wraps, and nothing has been released. But we're looking forward to having that in either July or August.
Yes, I'm really excited about that. And, some people ask about connecting, networking. This is where you're going to find your HR, what I like to call your HR board of advisors, the people that you're going to have on speed dial when something kind of gets crazy at the office and you need a first opinion, second opinion, third opinion. Because I know when I was a consultant, I felt like HR professionals were pretty lonely. They were, usually putting on events. They were dealing with confidential and sensitive information, and it gets difficult. So please, please don't do HR alone or just within your organizational community. Go outside, get those fresh perspectives. So this is where you're going to meet them. When you go to an event, what typically happens is that you'll register. There's like kind of hospitality team there. They'll register you. There's some networking going on. The chair will usually make some announcements. Sometimes they'll ask people, if you're new, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody? Or if you're looking for a job, would you like to, tell people what you're looking for? They also ask people who have job openings to stand up and say, hey, I have this opening. If you're interested, come talk to me. So it's a place to get connected. There's nothing like breaking bread with people. So I encourage you to at least once a quarter go to an in-person event. We also have webinars. Again, at the end of this slide deck, I have a list of things. So I want you to start thinking about setting a goal for yourself to go to at least one PIHRA event in the next quarter. You should be going to at least one professional development, at least one professional development or networking activity once a quarter. It could be with PIHRA, it could be with anybody. It could be talking to a former colleague, with a professor that you enjoyed in college or in your graduate program. But please, please do something. So this is the place to do that. At least one of the places for you to do that. I also mentioned we have some specialty groups. Rena's with PIHRA Emerging Leaders. We also have a college relations group. We also have a PIHRA Foundation, and they're a separate entity. They raise funds to to award scholarships to people who are interested in a degree in HR or who want to get their certification. And if you have any questions, I could send you information about that. They usually have 2 scholarship windows, one in the spring, so that's over, and then one in the fall, which usually starts around October, and the submission deadline's November. Okay, I'm going to pause for a second just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Everyone's in here. Okay, great, fantastic. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about benefits. If you are not a member and want to become a member, in honor of our 80th anniversary, we have the 80th anniversary special. It is for HR in-house practitioners only. If you have a question about what that means, let me know. But it's such a deeply discounted rate. $80 a year is fantastic. Our usual rate is $175 for new members, and then there's some renewal discounts. If you're in between jobs and an HR practitioner, this is a great way to get your membership going. And then if you are in transition, is what we call it, and you're renewing, we have special rates. So, and it's just about reaching out to me. So if you need any help and you're just in between positions, just email me and I'll try to I'll do my best to work something out with you. So please tell your community about this. It is for in-house HR professionals only, but it's a great deal of the century. So wanted to communicate that. Here's the top 6 benefits. We have a lot of benefits. If you go to this URL, pihra.org/benefits chart, you'll see all the different benefits that we have. I think we're still on. I heard something kind of hang up there for a second. But so people come to us for the HR education and the training opportunities. You saw our chapters have events every month. We have webinars, we have conferences, which I'll tell you a little bit about that. We are known for our California focus, especially employment law. We have a foundational event that happens in October every year, and we do it throughout our footprint. So we start meeting in LA and Orange County in October, and we finish our satellite meetings or seminars in January. And we do it in October because it's right after the governor signs everything into law. So our attorneys are constantly looking at what the governor is looking at, what laws are coming, what laws may pass, what laws may not. So we bring that to you. We also have an HR hotline that comes with your membership. It's free. If you were to purchase that alone, it's like $1,200. We have a smart employee handbook builder that comes with it. It's through these 2 are through our partner Mineral, and we could talk a little bit more about that. Free webinars, and what's priceless is this relationship building. And I'm going to pause for a second because I have to cough, but I can't emphasize enough the community that we have. So hold on. The story I want to tell you is when I first joined PIHRA, I told you I spent a lot of time in Long Beach. And we had a volunteer leader, Paula Cohen, and she had been a PIHRA member for 30 years, I think. And I asked her, why have you been a member for so long? What keeps you coming back? And she said, I met my best friend at a PIHRA Long Beach lunch. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. And it was so heartfelt. And I thought, well, gosh, I hope I find, some good friends. And that's exactly what's happened. I've have hiking friends that I've met. I've gone to people's weddings through PIHRA. And it makes me emotional to think about all the relationships that I've had. And some are, professional, but it's gotten to where I feel like these are my personal friends, and we spend time together outside of anything to do with PIHRA. So I don't know if that will happen for everybody, but I think that's the richness of PIHRA and something that's really priceless. So I wanted to pause there and talk a little bit about that. If anyone has questions about any of the benefits that you thought we had or you're interested in learning about, just feel free to unmute or put it in the chat. Here are the resources. I call it the DIY HR tools that we have through Mineral. Members, new members may need to wait around 2 weeks to get access, but email me at any time. You can email me at membership@pihra.org. I don't want you to feel frustrated, like I can't find where to sign in. I don't know where this is. Just email me and I'll help you do it. This technology is a single sign-on technology. So it does get temperamental. What you do to get to the Mineral platform is sign into PIHRA, then go to a URL, pihra.org/workplace, and then click in there and it'll automatically sign you in. If anyone has questions about that right now, let me know. I could do a quick demo, but there's so much on here. You're going to want to allocate some time on your calendar to check this out. There's an award-winning compliance center, hundreds of policies and sample forms and that you could search through. There's PIHRA Live. You call them, you tell the representative what question you have, and then they field it to a senior certified HR practitioner. They'll likely respond via email. They've changed it a little bit, so you may not be able to speak to some HR practitioner live anymore, but they will respond via email, and you just go on the platform and get the information. They'll follow up with any documentation that will be helpful as well. And this PIHRA Learn is an awesome benefit. It's free for our members. You can train your employees via this platform. It's an enterprise learning management software. You could set up training tracks. There's around 200 core courses, customer service, harassment. But I will tell you that the mandatory harassment training and safety training, there is an upgrade that you have to make for the mandatory modules. So it will cost you some, but it's at a highly discounted rate. So if you're a small HR department or a HR department of one, this is a great benefit for you. Okay, just pausing, making sure there's nothing in the chat. All right. Okay, if you have a large HR team or you want to introduce the PIHRA to your director and make sure that your entire team has access to this professional development, this is a great way to get the whole team a membership, and there's a lot more flexibility with the membership this way, and you get some discount. So again, you'll get the slide in a follow-up email. Okay, volunteerism. Several of you asked about volunteerism and networking. And in my opinion, volunteering is networking on steroids because not only I mean, we have so many different opportunities to volunteer. The ones that will make the biggest impact on your career are those volunteer leadership positions at the chapter level. So if you're thinking about taking on a role and investing some time and honing your leadership and getting some exposure in the HR community, that's where I would go first. They start all year round. They're looking for volunteers, but they really start looking for uh, um, filling their opened positions in the September, October timeframe. But you could be a conference volunteer. You could help a chapter at a committee level. So maybe help membership just making calls and following up with people or inviting people to the events. So there's a lot of different things. Go to this URL and or scan this, and then there is a survey you can go to, and it just asks you a couple questions like, where are you interested in volunteering? And it will connect you based on that information. It'll connect you with the right person to speak to so you could take your next step. But if you're interested in volunteering, you could also email me. Just let me know what areas you're interested in. You saw our chapter map, and I can make a connection for you. I don't know what openings they have at the chapter level because they, again, are quite autonomous. They set their own programs calendar. They do a lot of things and create things at the chapter level. So let me know if you're interested. Just send me an email. All right, learning and networking. Many of you had questions about the chapter meetings and our conferences, so let's get to that. I think I mentioned some of the types of learning that we have. We have the webinars, the virtual learning, hybrid conferences, the chapter meetings. We have our two kind of foundational conferences and seminars, the California HR conference, which we just had in May. It was fantastic. People walked away feeling so energized. It's a little smaller than what we've done in the past, but the topics, the connecting, the speakers were just fantastic. So highly recommend you put that on your training budget for next year. We have the California Employment Law Update coming up in October. I have a slide coming up on that. Also something you and your team should go to. And we have specialty programs. Right now we're doing the PIHRA Power series. I think that's coming up. We're doing something, I think it's in July, in the Woodland Hills, Canoga Park area. So always check the calendar to see what we have going on because there's always a lot going on. Members get a special rate, at least $10 off member PIHRA chapter meetings, and also special rates for our conferences and seminars. I told you all of our webinars are free for members. I don't know how much, most of them are. I know that there's been some push like, no, we want to charge our members for webinars. I'm doing all I can to keep those free. I think that's a great plus for you. A great example is next week, June 16th. Yeah. I think it's Monday. PIHRA Antelope Valley is hosting a webinar called Immigration in Flux, whatever every business needs to know. That's like a timely topic given what's happening in LA right now. Just protect yourself and hopefully protect your organization and your employees from what might be happening with respect to immigration law here. On June 17th, which is Tuesday, we have a free virtual peer exchange. So if you just want to come and chat with other HR practitioners, that's something great as well. These are all free for you, and you could do it at home from your home office or at work and just kind of listen in. Some of them are interactive, so not all of them are just listen in types of things. Okay, certification. I think two of you were interested in certification. Oh, great. Rena says there's some volunteer opportunities. So if you want to volunteer with emerging leaders, that's a great group. So that's a thank you, Rena, for putting that up. So some of you asked about HR certification. There are two certification agencies, HRCI and SHRM, and I'm going to send you an email with these links. HRCI has been around for close to 40 years. They have the SPHR, PHR, PHR California, and a PHR, just a simple PHR, and the APHR designations. They might have more now, but just so you know, the SPHR is for senior HR people, and the PHR is for more the generalists. The SPHR is for folks who are in or aspire to be more involved with the HR strategy. So think organizational development, leadership development, succession planning. So if you're in that area of HR, I would go for the SPHR. If you're more of a generalist or want to start at the generalist level, then I recommend the PHR. The one that I got my SHRM certification, so they have equivalent designations. So the SPHR for HRCI is equivalent to the SHRM SCP. So the S in the SCP, it stands for senior, and then the SHRM has a SHRM CP. So same thought process is that the senior one is for those people that are more at the HR strategy level. I like the SHRM certification, and the reason is the reference material is awesome. I keep it in my library, even though they update it every year. Um, the the booklets are fantastic. They're thick. I got 7 of them when I started studying for it. It comes with online access, and so I really like how they help you study for the exam. The exam is also different than the HRCI exams. I like the SHRM certification questions and the prep because it's more situational. So they SHRM, and they'll tell you this, probably in other words, but it's more competency based. They're looking at how you would best handle a situation. Whereas the HRCI tests seem a little bit more about memorization, which isn't bad, but I think that in HR, everything it's so unique. The people you're dealing with are unique. The organizations are unique. So you really need to kind of think about what the best thing to do is. Uh, so, and you have to be very clear on who you are with respect to your academics, your work experience, and your ability to take tests when you think about these tests. I am not a great test taker, so I spent 9 months studying for this. Some people take a lot less. I love our prep courses that we provide. So we're not a certification agency, but we do the prep courses. So think the SAT or the ACT. Usually people will take a preparation course in high school or outside of that or for your GRE. So we do those preparation courses. The preparation course for me was not enough. But what I like about our prep course is that we have a great instructor, and I met people that were taking the tests at the same time. So I would set up study groups with these people, and we went through. It was like accountability partners. We went through all the practice tests, and I passed the test on the first try. These tests are no joke. They are hard tests. So please be committed to studying and reading everything. And again, you might be one of those superstars where you study the book for 3 months, not a big deal, and you pass. That is not everybody. So I wanted to spend a little time with that because I believe in certification. I got like a big lift in my salary. There's research out there that shows that with the it kind of depends on what level of exam you take, but with the senior exams, you can up your salary by $20,000 in a year for the year. So do it. If you want to do it, but try to get your employer to pay for it if they can, and really do the research. It's not it's not cheap. You have to pay to apply for the exam. You have to pay for the exam. You have to also pay for the prep materials. So it is a big decision, at least for me. Some of you may be like, oh, that's not a big deal. It's a couple $1,000s, no big deal. But for me, I did not want to fail that exam and have to I think there's insurance too, but then you got to take it again. So no one wants to take that exam twice. So hopefully that motivated you, but I also want to be realistic that you do have to spend the time studying and doing the practice exams so that you could just take the test. It's a 3-hour test too, and it's proctored. So it will test you, but believe me, you'll feel so wonderful afterwards. And it's a great example for your team and for your family that you're doing this for yourself. So wanted to spend a little time there. Here's a save the date for the California Employment Law Update. We're going to be in Orange County at Hotel Zeza, which I haven't been there before, but we'll be there on October 28th. And at the Los Angeles Marriott Burbank, which we are there. That's where we usually hold this on October 30th. So it's a full day of employment law. And I think this year you're getting more bang for your buck because we have 5 sessions in person, and then I think you're getting another 5 sessions on demand, all packaged together. So be on the lookout for more information on this. I'm really excited that we're offering even more recertification credit. And oh, by the way, let me go back. On the HR certification side, I told you I really love the SHRM certification, but the one from HRCI, the PHRA California, that would be the second choice. If I was in HR, I would want to show mastery over, especially HR in California. I want to show mastery over California law and the PHR California. It's PHRCA. I think you see it here. That will help you show employers that you have mastery over employment law. Very sought after right now. So one of the last things I want to share with you is we are going on the HR cruise. I think I'm going. So if you enjoyed this webinar, I'll be on this cruise. It's pretty affordable. At least when I first looked at it, it was pretty affordable. You could reserve your spot for $100. The HR education component is 2 days, but it's a 5-day cruise. You could bring your family. The HR component, I think, is around $500. And then depending on what room you get on the cruise, there's interior rooms. I think they were like $600 for an interior room, but I'm not sure if that's per person or per room. I think it's per person. And then the exterior room, so with the balcony or with a view, those are more like $1,000, and I think it's $1,000 per person, but pretty affordable. If you haven't been on a cruise, I have a friend. I was not a cruiser. I have a friend who forced me to go on some cruises, and they're nice. They're really nice, especially the ones at Cabo. Cabo is beautiful. So hopefully that's something that you're interested in. All right, I promised you that I had a list of events going on in June here. There's so much going on. You'll see that there's some things that are free here. So I think is there some Ventura County has a meeting. I know Genesis here with Ventura County on June 26th. They are looking at employment law chops. So that's something you can do. We also have some free things. So I'm going to be the June 21st PIHRA Move and Mingle. It's our second event, Move and Mingle event. It's free. We're going to be taking a long walk in Santa Monica and just having a walking meeting, getting to know different people. So that's something you could sign up for, and it won't hurt your pocketbook. And at PIHRA Los Angeles, they're going to meet on next week, and they have a leadership program going on. So and that's really important. It's like how to be nice, but yet respected in HR is tricky. So that's something that. And Rena, are you going to that? Are you still around? Are you going to the PIHRA Los Angeles event?
No, I won't be going to the event, but I do want to check out the move one. That sounds pretty cool.
Okay, I'll be there. Yeah, that'll be fun. I do it with Brad DeCamarmon, who is a fitness guy, former model. So if you want to come hang out with Brad and I, that'll be fun. I am almost done. Any questions that have come up that I missed?
I have a quick question regarding the SHRM testing. You did mention the time frame in months, but is there an average time limit in hours that you can kind of give me so I can better gauge how many hours either per day or
To
overall
study?
hours? Yes.
Oh my, Genesis. So I did it during the pandemic, so I had a little bit more flexibility, but I would say I know it was a total in 9 months, it was around 175 hours. I think I did at least 3 hours of reading per week and another 2 hours with my study group. So the very least was 5 hours a week.
Okay. Perfect.
The very least. I don't know if I'm calculating that right, but yeah. So we have a great instructor, Richard Dawson, and he would always tell us, don't go to that party. Don't go to the movies. Don't go to the beach. You know, these 3 to 6 months is like buckle down. And that's why I like the study groups, because I told my study group friends, I was like, I need you to hold me accountable because I'm not a reader. I like to be out. Like I'm at the beach. I'm at a yoga class. That's what I like to be. And so they kept me accountable. But good luck with that. Please
Perfect.
go
Thank
for
you.
it. Yeah, yeah. Um, Let me just go on here. We have online groups on LinkedIn. We have a great community on LinkedIn. Facebook community is not as thriving. X community probably not as thriving either. But Instagram, we have a good group of people on Instagram. So please follow us on Instagram. Our chapters have Instagram. Emerging Leaders has an Instagram account. So follow us there. Follow us on LinkedIn. We do have an online forum. I to be transparent, not very active, but LinkedIn and Instagram is. Um, I'm here for you. Feel free to reach out to me. Email's best, but you can call me. If I'm not available, I will call you back and email you back. And I'm really happy to have spent this time with you. We have like a minute left, so if you have any questions, I can hang out. Rena, any last words? Oh, great. The Emerging Leaders, she put in the chat the Emerging Leaders website, our LinkedIn group for Emerging Leaders, and our Instagram. So thank you so much. I am going to turn off the record.